Hello and welcome to the College Fairs of Greater Denver Virtual College Fair. My name is Krista and I will be your facilitator tonight. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. However, you can feel free to ask questions in the chat by using, in the Q&A section by using the Q&A button, and the presenters will be able to answer at any time. However, you can still check out the chat as links might be posted up in there. I invite you to sign up for more sessions that might be happening later in the night, and a recording will be available and all sessions will be available at strivescan.com/greaterdenver. So I'd like to introduce first up, Sam from Boston University.
Great, hello everybody. Let me pull up my screen here. There we go, perfect. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. I'm excited to talk a little bit about Boston University. My name is Sam Richard. I'm an assistant director on the Board of Admission at BU. And my sort of quick overview of BU at a glance is right here. We are a large, urban, global teaching and research university located in the heart of Boston. And so we'll talk a little bit more about each one of these aspects of the BU experience as we go along here. But about 16,000 undergraduate students across our 10 undergraduate schools and colleges, folks coming from all across the US, as well as 120 countries. So there's a little bit of general information about BU, and we'll jump right into talking about academic programs. We've got a really wide variety of different offerings with 300 programs of study organized across our 10 undergraduate schools and colleges. So I usually say if there's something you have in mind, there's probably a program for you at BU, but also a lot of flexibility to switch between different programs. And about a third of our students enter as undeclared each year. So if you're not quite sure yet, that's absolutely fine as well. And plenty of flexibility to switch between different schools and colleges, take courses across different departments. Really, flexibility is one of the hallmarks of the academic experience at Boston University, both in terms of kind of changing between different programs, but also a really flexible general education curriculum that's called our BU Hub, which allows you to kind of pick your own general education courses within 6 broad areas. So everybody gets a really well-rounded degree, but you get to choose the particular courses that you're taking in order to do that. And average class sizes are relatively small. So we're a large university overall, but average class is only about 27 students. 80% of courses are just 40 students or less. So definitely a chance to get to know other students in your classes, but also to build a connection with our faculty members with that 10-to-1 student to faculty ratio as well. But our faculty are both great teachers, but also researchers at the same time. And I want to touch on research as well as some other experiential learning opportunities that are available as well. So I'll start off talking about research. We have an undergraduate research opportunities program. So research experiences will be baked into so many of the courses that you're taking, but also through this program, you can seek out additional research, either by joining an existing project that a faculty member is working on, or by proposing your own project. There's about $1 million in funding set aside just for student-led research every year. So could get funding for materials or travel, depending on what you'd like to do. Also, a lot of different study abroad options, programs in about 20 cities around the globe covering 5 continents. BU has small campuses in London and Sydney, Australia, but other different cities you could travel to dotted throughout the globe, and every major has at least one opportunity to study abroad and still graduate within a 4-year timeline. Also, a lot of resources for internships as well. You can see about 90% of students complete at least one before they graduate, and our Center for Career Development helps with both the internship search process through career fairs and an online job and internship portal, as well as thinking about things like writing a resume and a cover letter. But so many of our graduates have been successful post-graduation as well, with about 94% either employed or in graduate school within 6 months after leaving BU. So a lot of support around sort of building out your resume with research experiences and internships while you're a student, leading to some success for our graduates once they leave as well. But also a really strong community that our students can engage with. So a great picture here of one of our hockey games. That's our most popular sport on campus for sure. And just almost 500 different student-run clubs and organizations, ranging from kind of academic and professional interest to some for particular interests like hiking, snowboarding. There's a beekeeping club, a cheese lovers society, a free hugs club. So kind of all kinds of quirky ones you could join as well. But sports available, a number of different community service opportunities, groups for different identities and cultures. So all kinds of ways to find your pocket of the BU community within the broader community of the larger university overall. Also, housing is guaranteed for 4 years. About 3/4 of students live in on-campus housing for their entire time. So a lot of different options of where you could live, whether it's traditional dorm style or apartment style buildings, sort of in different locations throughout our campus within the city. And then you've also got the whole city of Boston at your disposal as well. So many different colleges and universities in the Boston area really makes it one of America's greatest college towns, in my opinion. And the Boston subway system runs right through the heart of our campus, so it's really easy to explore the city. Hop on there, about a 10-minute ride right into the center of downtown Boston. But so much going on around us that's free or discounted for students as well, like Fenway Park, where the Red Sox play, about $9 tickets to a baseball game there. Some museums nearby that give discounted admission as well. And lots of great restaurants, shopping on a couple of streets right nearby the campus. So much within walking distance, and then that subway to take you wherever else within Boston you'd like to go on top of that as well. Then I'll touch really quickly on our application process. So important highlights for BU. We do have either early decision or regular decision, just no early action. 2 essays required for every application. One is the general personal statement, and then a short supplement that asks what excites you about Boston University. So kind of sharing any details there about BU in particular that have drawn you to apply. And we will be test optional through at least spring of 2023. So definitely for any seniors applying this year, and that's for all programs and all scholarships at BU. You can see an overview of some of the statistics for our admitted first year class for this year on the side there. Full details about that and the whole application process available on our website as well. But a couple of other ways to sort of learn more moving forward. I highly recommend our social media, our Instagram in particular. They do takeovers with different students where you can get the student perspective directly. Or you're welcome to email visit@bu.edu to connect with one of our student representatives there. And lots of other ways to learn more online. We've got some information sessions available on our website over the next few months for some of our different schools and colleges, some general information, some tours of the university. We are open for in-campus, on-campus tours as well in person if you'd like to come to Boston and visit us, or plenty of virtual options online available as well. And my email is also right there, and I'll drop that in the chat for you in just a moment. I'm always happy to connect with any additional questions. But there's my overview of BU, and thanks again so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Kate with Amherst College.
Hi, thank you very much. Let me just get my screen going here, my PowerPoint for you all. There we go. So hi, welcome. And Sam, thank you so much for that great intro. What's fun about doing these programs is hearing about other colleges. So I'm not here to sell you on Amherst, but certainly tell you what makes Amherst different from many schools. And starting in Boston, we're just going to travel west an hour and a half to get to Amherst, Massachusetts, in an area really where the industry is higher education. So Amherst is a small, highly selective liberal arts college, and we talk a lot about curiosity at Amherst and really encouraging students to take charge of their own curriculum and encourage students also to think about their learning as really limitless. And we do this by offering an open curriculum. So what that means is we don't have any core requirements or any distribution requirements. So when a student comes to Amherst, they're free to take the classes that interest them most. You will have a faculty advisor who will help you navigate the curriculum, if you will. And what one of my faculty colleagues says is Amherst is a place that refines your strengths and repairs your weaknesses. So if you're like me and you want to avoid your weaknesses, the faculty member will encourage you to confront those weaknesses and actually take classes in areas where you might perceive you don't have a real strength. But all of our departments, all of our majors have classes for non-majors. So some other characteristics about Amherst, all of our faculty, all of our teachers are faculty, and all of our faculty are teachers. All of our faculty are engaged in research, and this to me seems the most obvious in the sciences, but it's also true in languages and social sciences. So there's a lot of opportunity for students to do research with Amherst faculty. 80% of our classes have fewer than 19 students in them, and our student to faculty ratio is 7:1. Our student body is about 1,800 students, and we have 34 residence halls. Housing is guaranteed for all 4 years. First year students live together on a first year quad. We have over 150 different clubs and organizations. You'll often find maybe a captain of a sport who also sings in an a cappella group and volunteers. So students are doing a lot of different things. Our athletics are Division III, so not Division I. No one comes to Amherst to play X, but they are actively engaged in sports, about 30% of our students. I want to
Hey,
touch
I'm
briefly.
so sorry to interrupt. Your screen is not showing. So if you're showing a PowerPoint, we're not able to see it.
Ah,
I'm so sorry.
no problem. Let me go back here. It's such a good PowerPoint too.
I know, that's why I was like, no, it's not showing.
Wait, I will get there. Okay, better?
Perfect, yeah.
Second.
You just need
Great.
to open it up.
Okay. Let me just go back here for a second. So I'm talking about financial aid now.
You could put from current slide, yeah, perfect.
Okay. Back up a second, sorry. Okay, let me start here. All right, so here's financial aid. So Amherst is known to have one of the best financial aid programs in the country, and there are a few reasons for that. One is we are completely need-based. We're completely need-blind for all students, and we meet demonstrated need for all admitted students. And when I say all, I mean the first person admitted off an early decision, the last person off the wait list, no matter what their residency, no matter what their citizenship. And in addition, we do not package loans. So all the loans have been converted to grants. Amherst gave over $60 million last year for financial aid for our students. The average award was about $60,000. So I already mentioned we're an hour and a half from Boston, about 3 hours from New York. There's a picture of our first year quad where our first year residents live. There's snow in Amherst, which is beautiful. You guys have snow in Denver also. This is a Columbian mammoth. Amherst is called the Amherst mammoth. This mammoth was excavated by a professor Hitchcock in the mid 1800s. So academics at Amherst, we have over 40 majors, 850 classes. I mentioned the open curriculum. So each semester, a student has to basically reject 846 classes to choose the 4 classes that they're most interested in. And at the end of your sophomore year, that's when a student would declare a major. This is a new science center that was built 3 years ago. It brings the light from the outside in. A lot of research takes place in the Science Center. As I mentioned, our faculty are all engaged in research, which is clear in the sciences. And they really need students to help them out with the research. Social sciences are also taught in this building, as well as other disciplines. Here's a picture of a recent first year class. And 51% of this year's incoming students identified as domestic students of color. Another 12% identified as non-US citizens. 58 citizenships, 8% dual citizens, over 30 different languages are spoken at home. So we intentionally have a very diverse student body with a large and wide variety of backgrounds for students to draw upon in their discussion sections in their classes. I mentioned over 150 different clubs and organizations on campus. The student budget is over $1 million. So if you want to start a club, you put in a application to the student government and they review them and will accept many of the clubs that students want to engage in. Music is really big at Amherst. There's a musical group called the Zumbies, and they're playing Michael Jackson's Thriller, which you can probably see by looking at their actions. Athletics, I mentioned a third of our students are involved in varsity athletics. They're also intramural and club sports. Housing is guaranteed for all 4 years on campus. This is some new residence halls that were built in order to build the Science Center. I'll flip through these quickly. They each have activities sort of built into them. There's a ping pong table behind there, our playing field, so you can watch a soccer game on a nice fall afternoon. We also have some older residence halls. These used to be fraternities, which Amherst abolished in the early 1980s, and now they're just big, beautiful residence halls with ballrooms. We have centralized dining where students eat, of course, but then hang out, do crossword puzzles, and just have a great time. An organic farm, which helps supply much of the food in the area. And Lakia, when she talks about Mount Holyoke, we'll talk more about this, but we're part of a 5-college consortium with Amherst, Hampshire, Mount Holyoke, Smith, and UMass. And because I'm running low on time, I'll answer that. We accept the Common Application, Coalition Application, and QuestBridge application. We also are test optional for another 2 years. And I think the best recommendation for that is if you feel your testing reflects your ability as a student, then go ahead and submit your testing. If you think your testing does not align with you as a student, it gets lower, then there's no pressure to admit it. We don't submit your testing. It's not going to be a negative if you choose not to submit your testing. After graduation, 80% of our students within 5 years go on to graduate school. A lot of students go into finance, other education professions, business, consulting, et cetera. The orange box shows some of the businesses, and the blue box shows you some of the schools that students go on to. And I look forward to answering questions at the end of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Lakia with Mount Holyoke College.
Awesome. So you should see my Colorado Fairs screen. Yes, awesome. Okay. Hi again, my name is Lakia Newland and I use she, her pronouns. I serve as Dean of Admission at Mount Holyoke. And Mount Holyoke is a private residential liberal arts college, liberal arts and sciences college for women located on 700 stunning acres in Western Massachusetts. We are about 90 minutes west of Boston, 3 hours north of New York. Sorry, you heard a lot of this in Kate's presentation, and about an hour north of Hartford, Connecticut, but we're so close to each other. So location is just about the same. Our campus has 2 lakes and 45 miles of trails. For those unfamiliar with Western Massachusetts, it's rich in culture, arts, varied outdoor activity, and spirit of social justice activism. We have about 2,200 students on campus and 98% of them live on campus all 4 years. We are very proudly the first of the powerful 7 sister colleges founded in 1837 when there were no college options for women. Our founder, Mary Lyon, acted on the conviction that women could and should do more than what society deemed our highest calling at that time, which was to be wives and mothers. Today, a ways from 1837, we're a gender diverse and affirming institution, meaning we accept applications from female, non-binary, and trans male and female students. But our mission hasn't changed. We exist to empower the next generation of female leaders. Fewer than 2% of women in the United States attend a women's college. So by virtue of that statistic, it's a bold and unconventional choice. But as alums, the 2% is a community of first and innovators and leaders. And that's because at our institution, it's not about equal opportunity, but every opportunity to develop your leadership skills, define your intellectual trajectory, and craft a social life grounded in choice and not norms. We attract students who are interested in taking control of their front row learning experience. But you won't only see women at Mount Holyoke. In addition to our gender diversity on campus, we also belong to what's known as the 5 College Consortium. It's a partnership with 4 nearby schools, Amherst, Hampshire, and Smith colleges, and the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. We are all located within a 6-mile radius of one another. Our campuses and towns are connected by the largest free bus system in the Northeast for students. Nope, you can't have that. And the consortium means for you expanded access to academic, co-curricular, and social opportunities for all students across the 5 colleges. Students can cross-register in courses at any of the schools at no additional cost. The nearly 38,000 students in the 5 colleges socialize in terms of parties, guest lecturers, events, and we join clubs and organizations across campus. So for example, theater and dance productions have open auditions. Each of the 5 colleges has its own personality, but if there's a set of shared qualities Mount Holyoke students possess, it's that they are deeply intellectually curious, strong in their convictions. Remember, I talked about that bent towards social justice, and invested in respectfully holding space for and engaging multiple perspectives. We value community, collaboration, and belonging, and students lift one another up here. At Mount Holyoke, you'll get interdisciplinary courses, academic rigor, close faculty mentorship, and rich experiential learning opportunities that allow students to put theory into practice in both professional and research settings before they leave our gates. Mount Holyoke students choose from 48 majors. Our top majors include biology, psychology, and economics. 36% of our students major in a STEM field, 35% in social sciences, and 28% in the humanities. Our professors are dynamic teachers who foster collaboration over competition in our academically rigorous classrooms. This year, the Princeton Review recognized us as having the top faculty in the country with a #1 rating in faculty or professors get high marks. An inclusive community, a sense of belonging is a hallmark of the Mount Holyoke experience. Our community is intentionally diverse. We believe in the power of dialogue and of learning through listening and understanding experiences and perspectives that differ from our own. We do that work in classrooms, residence halls, in the context of clubs and organizations, and via our cultural centers. The main thing to remember here is actual power. At Mount Holyoke, we're deeply committed to connecting the liberal arts to experiential learning and to the exploration of future career paths. Our 4-year scaffolding career prep experience includes team mentorship, networking, workshops, and high-level and funded internship and research opportunities. The outcomes include graduate school at Harvard, Penn, MIT, Johns Hopkins, and Cornell, and working for companies like Brigham and Women's Hospital, Citigroup, Microsoft, and Google. While we do have 150 study abroad programs on campus, we also have a more expansive, comprehensive global approach to learning. The McCulloch Center for Global Initiatives houses our international programming. Because of their efforts, the college has been recognized with the prestigious Senator Paul Simon Award for our excellence in international education. You'll find that thread woven through the faculty that we have, the way that they teach, and the students who are on campus. All right, almost done. So we are a common application school as well, and we're also a coalition application school, but important dates, November 15th is our ED1 deadline, our first ED1 deadline. January 5th is our second ED1 deadline, and January 18th is our regular decision deadline. So no early action for us as well. We do use a holistic review process, which means we read the entirety of your application, and each file is read by 2 readers. We are a test optional school, and we have been for over 20 years. So our readers feel really good and comfortable about reading applications from students who don't provide test scores. You can see a list of our supplemental options like interviews and essays and art supplements. And you can also see on the slide a little bit more about our selectivity. And last but not least, we meet the full calculated need of all admitted students. We also package with loans, grants, scholarship, work study, and merit award. This year's average financial aid package was about $48,000, which earned us the designation as the best value college in Princeton Review. And about 60% of our students receive need-based aid. Bottom line is that our financial aid practices are meant to ensure that Mount Holyoke is a solid investment for you. And I too look forward to answering your questions and stopping my child from destroying my house. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Julie from Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Polytechnic Institute.
Thank you. Can you see my screen? Okay, great. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for the welcome. I'm Julie. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I work at WPI, a little bit easier to say than Worcester Polytechnic Institute. We are also located in Massachusetts, but we're located in the center of the state, about an hour west of Boston. And we are a university that focuses exclusively on science, technology, engineering, math, and business. Of our 50 different degree programs, the vast majority of them are within STEM. Engineering is going to be our largest concentration of majors because we have 12 different kinds of engineering. Of course, we have civil, electrical, chemical, and mechanical engineering, but we have a lot of specialty programs as well. We were the first in the country to offer a degree in robotics engineering, and we have strong programs in fire protection engineering, architectural engineering, and more. After engineering, we see a lot of students studying computer-related majors like computer science, video game development, data science, and more. And then, of course, you can study traditional math and science majors like biology, chemistry, physics, math, actuarial math, etc. And rounding out our majors are our business programs, which really are focused on that intersection of business and technology. The other numbers on this slide tell you a little bit about our size, and I want to tell you also about our location. So we're here in Worcester, Massachusetts. I already mentioned an hour west of Boston. The train runs between Worcester and Boston 20 times a day. So if you fly into Boston, it's a pretty easy trip out to Worcester, Massachusetts. There's about 200,000 people in the city, but almost 40,000 of them are college students. So it's got a great young vibe, lots of concert arenas. There's a minor league baseball stadium, good stuff happening in Worcester. But what I want to talk about is my favorite thing about WPI, and that's our project-based curriculum. Our motto is theory and practice, and our faculty will tell you that the key word is and. So you're learning in the classroom, and at the same time, you're applying that knowledge outside of the classroom. through projects. Projects are going to be built into almost every class that you take at WPI, but there's also these 4 large-scale projects listed on this slide. In your first year, you'll have the opportunity to complete the Great Problem Seminar, where you learn about one of the world's great problems like livable cities or clean energy or marine pollution. You learn about the problem, and then you and a group of WPI students will try to come up with a solution to that problem. So we don't expect our first year students to be, solving the energy crisis, but maybe you redesign a wind turbine blade that can generate more electricity. You're not going to solve the hunger crisis, but maybe you create a composting program that can be implemented in a local high school. The Humanities and Arts project at WPI is actually 5 classes and the 6th capstone project, where you take all of that humanities knowledge that you've gotten and you do something creative with it. So maybe you design your own instrument, or maybe you write a computer program that can generate poetry. It's a fun way to combine the humanities and STEM. The IQP and the MQP are the big projects at WPI. The IQP happens in your junior year, and it stands for the Interactive Qualifying Project, meaning that you're going to work with students from all different majors. The MQP stands for the Major Qualifying Project, happens in your senior year, and you're going to work on a project with a few students from your same major. My favorite thing about the projects is that we do a ton of global projects. So this is not study abroad, but this is going to another country to complete one of those projects that I was just talking about with a group of WPI students and professors. You travel for 7 weeks, you live in that location, any one of those little red dots that you see on the map there, and you solve a problem unique to that community. One project that I recently heard about was over in Morocco. Our students were working with local farmers there. Farmers were telling them that it's really hard to grow food and vegetables in the desert. So WPI students looked at ways that we could capture fog that rolls in over the desert and turn it into water that can be used for irrigation and crop support. Every student at WPI gets up to $5,000 in a global scholarship. So we have over 90% of our students traveling and doing a global project, which is pretty unique at a science or engineering focused university, but we pay you to do it. So why not take advantage of it? The reason we do all of these projects is so that our students get good jobs after graduation. They're very well paid after graduation, and we have a really strongly ranked career development center that helps all students from from first year students up to senior students finding job opportunities in the forms of internships, co-ops, and full-time jobs. That's all I have for you. I've added our visit link up here. We have a ton of virtual options, including departmental specific sessions from faculty at WPI. So if you wanted to take a deeper dive into what robotics engineering or bioinformatics is, we would love to have you join us virtually. And we're also open for in-person visits. So I am going to pause there and turn it over to the next institution.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Corinne with Yale University.
Hi everyone, my name is Corinne Smith and I'm the Yale Admissions Officer who covers Colorado. This is my 6th year working at Yale and my 4th year covering the state of Colorado. In addition to reading applications, I'm also Yale's Quest Bridge coordinator and I oversee all of our rural outreach and recruitment. So if you have any questions about either of those, I'm very happy to answer them in the Q&A. But now capturing everything about Yale in only a few minutes is absolutely impossible, but our office gave it some thought and we came up with something really concise. Yale is and now if you've never heard this phrase before, it might sound a little bit odd, but please do give me a chance because I actually think this captures Yale quite well. And that's because we know that in the college search process, there are a lot of ors. Do I want to study math or history? Do I want to get involved in theater or robotics? Can I do research or study abroad? And at Yale, we really don't want our students to have to choose. So what most sets Yale apart is this philosophy of and. Now, the first place that you can see this idea of and is in our home city of New Haven, Connecticut. I do want to acknowledge that Yale is built on the ancestral homeland of the Quinnipiac people. And one of the ways we try to honor the land, Native people, and our Native students is through Yale's Native American Cultural Center. So if you'd like to learn more, please do feel free to visit our Cultural Center's website. But when it comes to the idea of and today, New Haven is a perfect fit because it's an and city. When you live in New Haven, you get the best of both a big city and a college town. Yale has a traditional college campus with libraries, residential halls, quads, and classrooms, but the heart of downtown New Haven is only a few minutes walk away. It has great shops, restaurants, music halls, theaters, and the second largest collection of free public art of any US city. My favorite fact about New Haven is that the hamburger was invented there at a place called Louie's Lunch, which still operates today. At the last census, New Haven was the fastest growing city in the Northeast. It's less than a 2-hour train ride from Boston and New York, but it's definitely its own small city. And students can enjoy the nature of Connecticut because campus is only a short walk from an area called East Rock, which leads up to a physical rock that students can hike, bike, run, and climb. Now, to talk about Yale as an and university, it's really important to understand our undergraduate education. We combine the best of a research university and a liberal arts college. Now, just to take a moment to define liberal arts, I always, growing up, thought of it as a subject area like the sciences, arts, or humanities, but it actually refers to how we study and approach learning rather than what we study. So students at Yale can choose from any of our 80 majors, but regardless of whether they're majoring in engineering, math, music, political science, or creative writing, we're going to ask them to take classes in many different areas. To make this possible, all Yale undergraduates will enroll in the same liberal arts college, Yale College, and no one is required to declare a major until the end of their second year, and they can easily change that major as many times as they want to up until senior year. Ultimately, the major is going to make up about a third of a student's course load. Now, one thing that I find really unique about Yale is the fact that we offer interdisciplinary majors, which are made up of 2 or more subject areas combined into one major. And that's because we know that students have multiple academic interests. And like I said at the beginning, we don't want them to have to choose between those things. So we have interdisciplinary majors such as physics and philosophy, computer science and the arts, and ethics, politics, and economics. All of those exist at Yale. As we head to this next slide, you might remember me saying that all Yale undergraduates enroll in Yale College, which houses our 80 majors, but you'll also hear Yaleys reference their residential college. This can be a little bit confusing at first, but it's really a cool way that our students live and learn. It's also my favorite thing about Yale. Every single Yalie is a member of one of our 14 residential colleges, and every student is randomly assigned to one of those 14 smaller communities before they arrive as a first-year student. They're assigned to that college for all 4 years, and about 90% of our students will choose to live on campus for all 4 years. That's because each college is its own independent living space. All of our students live in suites, typically of 4 to 6 students who share a common room and a bathroom or 2, and each residential college surrounds a central green courtyard. Each college also has its own dining hall, common room, library, gym, music practice room, and dance studio, among other things. We like to think of the colleges as little microcosms of the university. Students are randomly assigned to them, and each one is representative of the larger demographics of Yale. And we love this because it means that students get to meet and learn from other students and professors assigned to the colleges. They get a small community right away when they get to Yale, but they get to go to their classes and meet the other 6,000 undergraduates in different classes and activities that they're involved in. So even though the residential colleges aren't connected to majors or academic departments, they're all about living and learning and diversity and community. Now, the final and quality that I want to leave you all with is Yale's combination of tradition and innovation. Yale is 320 years old, but every single class of students reinvents the university in their own way. After this session, if you'd still like to learn more about our institution, traditions, and opportunities, we do offer virtual information sessions and live student forums throughout the week. We also have an incredible podcast called Inside the Yale Admissions Office that dives into the application process, essay writing, and other hot topics. It's really helpful for any selective school you're applying to. Any of these schools that are on this webinar today, you can get some information there. And you can also follow us on many different social media platforms. I will put a link to all of those and our quick cost calculator, which helps you figure out what it might cost you to attend Yale in 3 minutes, into the chat for you all. Thanks again.
Thank you to all the schools that presented tonight. We are now moving on to the Q&A section. So I invite all the institutions to please turn their cameras on. That's my timer. I invite all the institutions to please turn their cameras on so we can ask some questions for you all. So the first question I'm going to ask, and if we have extra time at the end, I'll ask another, is what is one thing you want students to take away from your school? And we'll start with Boston University in order.
Sure. So I think for me, what it comes down to, the sort of one of the most unique aspects of BU in particular is just the wide variety of different opportunities that are available to our students. Attending a large school, there are a lot of big benefits that come from university with a lot of resources behind it as well. So 300 programs of study, almost 450 student clubs and organizations, 70 study abroad options, have a lot of different opportunities at your fingertips that are offered by the university, and then the whole city of Boston just steps away as well. So opportunity is the core for me for BU.
Hi, so again, Kate, Dean of Admission from Amherst. And I think at Amherst, if I'm talking about one thing in particular, I'll be talking about curiosity. So when students come to Amherst, they bring with them a sense of curiosity. And no matter what a student's background is, no matter what their preparation is, if they come with a sense of curiosity, they're going to do really well. Our faculty are eager to teach our students. They love teaching undergraduates. In fact, the one require course is a first-year seminar, and we have more faculty who want to teach that class than we do have first-year seminars available. So they're really eager to recruit students for their departments and looking for students who are curious and excited about learning. So I think just bring a curiosity, and also not just excited about learning, but excited about living on the campus and living in the community. We're so intentional about having students from so many different countries with so many different extraordinary experiences. I think students really enjoy getting to know one another more than just, hey, how are you doing? But really sitting down at 2 o'clock in the morning in a residence hall and having a long conversation about this color of the sky or whatever it might be. So a sense of curiosity is the best thing I can think about to describe Amherst.
Everyone, again, Lakia, Dean of Admission at Mount Holyoke. And I'd say something that well describes Mount Holyoke is a spirit of collaboration. So it's definitely a place where I often hear students say they enjoy learning because while the learning is rigorous, it doesn't feel like it's so extremely competitive that they're anxious about the learning. And they often recount stories of showing one another how to be leaders from in front and behind and the side, rather than feeling like leadership is only possible in one form. So I really have enjoyed seeing that sort of take root in students at Mount Holyoke.
Yes, and from my WPI perspective, I'm gonna say a global mindset. You know, I think it's really interesting to me to see students before they travel abroad and then after they come back. And science and engineering looks totally different when you apply it in different countries and different situations. So I really love that they have the opportunity to travel and kind of broaden that global mindset.
And at Yale, I hope that everyone took away from the presentation this idea that we're an and university, but I'd really hone in there and focus on the way that we approach interdisciplinary learning. We really do think that cool things and advancement happens at the intersection of different areas. And so those interdisciplinary majors, that's not 1 or 3 or 5 of our majors. It's about 1/3 of them. We really are looking for ways to combine different and very diverse areas in new and unique ways.
Thank you all. And before I ask my next question, I just want to remind everyone that you can ask questions yourself using the Q&A feature. So the next question I want to ask you all is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we'll start again with Boston University.
Sure. So I think probably my biggest piece of advice is take advantage of all of the different opportunities to do lots of research about the schools, whether it's attending a college visit. I know for most of the schools here, all the schools here are on the East Coast, so it might be challenging for folks in Colorado to make their way out for an in-person visit. But every school now has virtual versions of different events, campus tours. So take advantage of all the resources that are available to you, because the college search process is really about finding the right fit. So find your fit, get a real sense from students, from professors, if you can attend all kinds of different events from different folks at all these different schools, really get a sense of which place is going to be the right fit for you.
I will piggyback on Sam's very wise words. Fit is really important. And we're not here to compete with one another. We're here to describe our schools and for you to decide what's the best fit for you. So I think trying to fall in love with as many schools as possible at this point in the process is also a really good idea. So don't narrow yourself in any way. I know there's some parents on this seminar, which is terrific. It's great to support your students. It's also really important to let them make these decisions and ask them what they like and they don't like about each school. And maybe the students can keep a track of that, because there's no such thing as a perfect college. And I think we all agree there's no such thing as a perfect college applicant. That's a deal that we make with you all. So again, fall in love with as many schools as possible.
All good advice. I would say, especially for the parents in the virtual room, encourage your student to make their peace with the application process. And once they apply, not to agonize over all the little things that they could have, should have, would have done differently, or, wished, they could have augmented before they clicked submit. And to not be afraid to take some risks in the application process, because you get into 0% of the schools you don't apply to, right? So really take some risks and then make your peace with it and just sit back and wait for the process to unfold.
I love it. Fully support all of that. I would also say that I want every student to love every college that's on their list. I think you're all going to make a list of 5 or 6 or 7 different universities that you're going to apply to, and you're going to have your dream school. And of course you love that school, but I want you to love the school that you think you can reasonably get into just as much, because I think then you'll be happy wherever you end up.
I've got a second, third, fourth, fifth, every single thing my colleagues here have said. I'm gonna say something a little bit different, just to switch gears. My best piece of advice is that let go of the idea of being unique in this process. I think that one of the biggest misconceptions that students are told or hear or think is that they have to be unique to get into schools like ours. And the reality is that we read so many applications that it's the rare exception that I read any file that is different or unique. Let that go. Generally, what stands out is a student's authentic voice and personality and fit for our institution, as Sam said. And so we're really looking for you to be you. Some of the best essays I've read are just students kind of talking about their everyday life and things that are normal to them. So kind of get rid of that expectation and pressure on yourself to do something different, and just be who you are.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. Give me 1 second so I can open up my wrap-up screen. We are running out of time. We have 1 minute left. So again, I invite you all to, if you have any last minute questions, please ask them in the Q&A. And thank you so much for joining this virtual college fair. I just wanted to remind you all that after this, there is a quick survey. It's a 5-question survey that you can fill out. You are invited to sign up for more sessions that are happening. There's, I believe, 2 more rounds of sessions happening tonight. And a recording of this will be available at strivescan.com/greaterdenver. Thank you all.